got any questions for Dale, I need you to come right up here so I can give you a microphone. We're going to let you ask the questions. All right? First man.
Dale, I recently just heard that the WCW is being bought by the WWF. Can you tell me something about that?
First question.
Yeah, the first question I knew was coming up. The WWF did purchase the WCW, so we're all under Vince McMahon right now.
Cool.
Yeah. Should be really cool. I mean, Vince is the best out there and is a genius in the business and knows how to do characters. And I mean, I'd love to see something with Kane and the Undertaker and the Demon. I think would be really cool.
Yeah. All right, who else got a question?
I just want to find out, I heard you were getting married, is that true?
I'm already married.
To Asia?
To Asia, yeah. I'm already married. I got married in October.
After you stopped playing baseball, how long did it take before you decided to be a wrestler and came up with the whole Demon idea?
Actually, when I was still playing baseball, I started to think about wrestling. I got hit in the face with a pitch and it messed up my vision. I knew that my average was dropping, and at that point I didn't understand why until I got checked and they found out that the depth perception was wrong. But I didn't come up with the Demon character. I was at the power plant with WCW when I heard that Gene Simmons wanted to do a Demon character, and originally it was supposed to be in the WWF, and then he came to the WCW with it, and being a huge Kiss fan, I made sure I went to the office, gave my pictures from when I was a kid, dressed up, and then when I was in college I did some, you know, a costume contest, so I gave him all those pictures, and that's how I got the tryout for it.
Do you look forward to wrestling anybody in WWF?
Yeah, I'd love to wrestle a lot of those guys. Like I said, I think it would be really cool to go against Kane and the Undertaker, and there's a lot of guys over there that I'd love to wrestle against. Yeah, we're going to do that in a minute. Okay.
He's got a question.
How much do you eat in a day to get that big?
That's a good question. I eat a ton of protein. There's a lot of cows going down, I think, for me. But seriously, I eat a lot of chicken, a lot of ground beef, and a lot of steak. I don't take anything. That's a funny thing. I don't take creatine or any of that stuff. So I don't think it works. I mean, I take the Myoflex, you know, like the supplement packets, but I don't think creatine works. I've tried it, and I just didn't think it worked. So eat a lot though, and eat often. How much do I bench? Most I've ever tried and did it was 4 or 5. I've never gone any further than that. It's good enough for me.
That's enough. All right, if anybody else has questions, please work your way up to the front.
Were you the original Demon, or was there one before you?
There's one before me. He never wrestled. There was Brian Adams, who's in Chronic. He was the one who came out with Kiss, and he did 2 appearances, but he never wrestled. I'm the only one who ever wrestled him. So it was just 2 appearances and out. And, you know, we've talked about it in the past. I don't really know what happened on how it all worked out, but I don't care. As long as, I mean, I was really bummed out, to be honest with you, when he got it, but we talked about it, and he was the one, after it all, things kind of went haywire for him, suggested that I get it.
I don't know if you know the situation with the Ultimate Warrior, but would you be looking forward to wrestling against him in the future?
Yeah, you know, I would love to wrestle any of the guys that are, you know, big-time icons and been huge in the sport. I mean, the one guy I really want to wrestle is Hogan. I mean, I'd love to, I mean, he's the ultimate, and I'd love to wrestle him, and probably the guy that's not in either organization right now that I'd like to wrestle, Scott Hall. I think he's probably one of the best big men in the business.
Who else with a question?
Bring him down, I'll get him. He'll be next.
How come you didn't wrestle in a while?
How come you haven't wrestled in a while?
There's been a lot of changes in WCW. At first, I got married, and that took me off for a little bit. But when they kept changing ownership, and the presidents that would come in with, it was Vince Russo, and then he left, and then Kevin Sullivan took over. It just kind of, the storylines kind of got taken out for me. And it actually, this character was never supposed to be one that went straight through. I would come in, come out, come in, and come out. It's been a little too long for me to stay out. So I actually been wrestling again for WCW on non-televised matches, and it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with the WWF. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I like this guy.
What about any other tag team partners that dress up like kids?
Actually, there were supposed to be more. I don't know what's going to happen now, but Vince Russo, before he left, said there was going to be a Paul Stanley character, and he was going to be my tag team partner, and then he left, and who knows. But there were supposed to be all four, and it might still happen, who knows.
I'm a good Eric Carr.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
Any mishaps or near mishaps breathing fire?
Not really, not yet. I mean, actually, the funny story is, they told me on a Friday that I was breathing fire on Monday, and I didn't know how to do it. So I called KISS. They told me to meet them in New York, and they taught me with Gene and Spiro. I don't know if people probably know who Spiro is. They were the two that taught me, actually at Jones Beach, to make sure, and then I did it. It was only, I practiced a few times and went and did it live on Nitro the first time. So right now, I'm, knock on wood, nothing has really happened, but, you never know.
I was with
Who else got a question?
so he was loaded with great words.
When do
He
you
was
start
gone.
wrestling at WWF?
I'm not really sure. There's a lot of things that they just bought WCW, so there's a lot of changes going to be happening, so it might take a while to see where everything is going.
All right, if you have questions, going to work your way up to the front. Microphone only reaches so long.
No, he just quit. And I said, good.
Is it true that you taught your wife Spitfire as well?
Yeah.
I just saw you.
She actually, I think, did it faster than me. I mean, she was good right away. I mean, she watched me quite a few times. We actually practiced on the driveway, and I think the neighbors think that we're kind of the freaks of the area, which I think we are. Because we got 3 wolves at home sitting there watching us break fire, but she did it, she learned really fast. It only took her probably a day, just me watching me, and then she tried it.
Well,
No, and she's got a tongue ring, which is hard to, that's even harder
I made it
to
up with
breathe
this
fire
meetings
with.
As a longtime KISS fan, how did it feel to finally meet the band?
It was awesome.
That must have been great.
I mean, I think it's the same thrill that anyone who's been in here has met him for the first time. I met him actually when I was in college, when I went to Northwestern University in Chicago. I used to go down to UIC Pavilion, and we used to watch him there. So, I mean, that's the first time I got to meet him. I got to hang out with Bruce for the first time there. And, I mean, I thought that was awesome, to be able to see them, during the 80s. I mean, I loved every incarnation of the band. It was cool that they kept going for us. So I loved going to see them then, and then to be able to go backstage and see them in full makeup and full outfits and get to hang out. There's actually, we did some videos with them that haven't come out yet, but we have some different videos that we did. So that means to see that is really cool for the first time, walking up and seeing the 4 of them, the 4 original members in full paint, full outfits. I mean, it's real cool.
Oh, what do you use for fire?
I can't tell you. Don't try it, please. I mean, Gene says it, I'm sure. I don't want anybody to try it, any of the kids to try it. It's very dangerous, so, just don't mess around with that.
Who said anybody's going to try it? I don't know.
How is it wrestling with the makeup on? And is it the same makeup that, like, Demolition, The Ultimate Warrior, Powers of Pain, or the Legion of Doom? Is it the same kind of makeup that they use?
Yeah, we all use the same stuff, Sting, everybody, because we can't really wear the same grease paint stuff. It smears and it gets all over everything. This is it's actually a liquid latex. It dries, nothing comes off. I mean, it flakes off a little bit, but it's a lot easier on us.
If you have any more questions, up here to the front. Who else got questions? Everybody's shy. No one wants to ask a question.
How was it doing the KISS Fan Club show that they showed on VH1?
It was cool.
That looked pretty good.
Yeah, it was, I mean, they shot a ton of footage. I mean, they probably had about 10 hours of footage that they, you know, squashed down, and, you know, I was bummed out that Bill Starkey didn't get more time. You know, that was kind of, it just came and was gone. But, I mean, for me, it was great. I mean, they called me up. I was in Oklahoma City backstage, and they found out that I was a KISS fan, and they questioned me for probably a half an hour on the phone to see if I really was a KISS fan, and naming albums and what it meant to me, you know, what KISS has meant to me, how it's changed my life. And I mean, some of that was on the fan club show, and I think they did a really good job with it. I mean, you condense 10 hours into probably, I think it was like only 8 minutes or something in segments. I mean, I thought they did a real good job on it. It was a lot of fun to do. I mean, whenever you get a chance to represent KISS and do anything with it, it's really cool.
Who else got a question? We're going to take a couple more, and then we're going to keep going.
Yeah, when you did the VH1 fan club, and one of the wrestlers says he hates everything about the team and you beat on KISS. How did that make you feel?
That's why I beat him up.
Yeah, because the team is also the best. So is KISS, and that's
So I appreciate that. That's how I feel too, so I appreciate that.
I bought it in advance.
Okay, who wants to ask the last question?
Get in line.
We're trying to cram everything in here.
Probably, maybe 5 minutes.
Now that Vince McMahon is bought
5 minutes after this guy, he'll probably come on.
is he going to like end WCW and just form one company, or still have two separate organizations?
Well, pretty much, you know, it's kind of funny. All I know is pretty much everything that everyone else knows if you're reading on the internet, because nothing has really come out beyond, as it looks right now, he's going to put, they're on Viacom channels, so it's like, you know, they have MTV and CBS and TNN, so he's planning, I think, to put WCW on another channel and go, so that he's going to keep them both separate, which I think would be really exciting for the fans. I mean, for the fans, as me as a fan of wrestling and watching it, you know, who's going to show up on whose show, I think is going to be pretty cool. And you never know who's going to be, you know, attacked in which arena, where it's going to happen. I think there's going to be a lot of new surprises.
I heard about Howard Stern the other day, and they asked about that. He said you might down the line interdivision belt.
Yeah, the guy here was saying that he heard on the radio, it was Howard Stern, Vince McMahon was on, and they were talking about having one belt between the two. I mean, I think there's so many different things that can happen, so many storylines. I think it's going to make for great TV. I know that it's going to bring renewed life to WCW, as you can, you know, in the last, you know, 6 months. I mean, I haven't been on the show, but it's kind of been sliding down the wrong side, and I think with Vince behind it, anything is possible, because the guy is a genius in the wrestling business. I mean, you don't become a billionaire, you know, if you don't know what you're doing. I mean, he is just a genius, and you could see guys that weren't big stars in the WCW that went over to the WWF. Chris Jericho, for example, was kind of, you know, a mid-card guy and went right to the top of the WWF because they know how to do it. They know how to make people stars. So that's what I'm excited about, just to see all that and see the possibilities of wrestling some of the big guys over there.
And I don't watch them, I just put them away, so I don't even...
What's that? Yeah, it's great. I think it's going to be exciting for the fans. Anybody else?
You think he'll think you're a bad guy? You know,
Who knows? I don't know. You never know. I don't care. I just want to go out there and wrestle anybody. I don't care who it is at any time.
Why Love Gun is the finishing move?
Why Love Gun? It's no longer. What's that?
It's a false song, you know, the demon makeup and everything.
The true story behind that was I didn't come up with that.
I didn't think so.
No. I came up with, it was supposed to be called The Kiss of Death. If you ever watched, anyone has the tapes of my first matches in WCW, they call it The Kiss of Death. And then they didn't want that, so I said, it's got to be Destroyer. And then all of a sudden, that Mark Madden said, Love Gun, it's the Love Gun. And I said, why the Love Gun? He goes, it's just a great name. I said, no, it's got to be Destroyer. But he threw it out there on TV, and that's how it got named Love Gun. but it was supposed to be Kiss of Death or Destroyer, so I've changed it. I don't even do that anymore, and there's a brand new one that I've been using on the house shows around. It's been, now it's the Destroyer. It's way better than the last one, so it's fun to do too.
Any more questions? I notice everybody is kind of shy to talk on the microphone.
What do you do then? I set up like audio, video, staging, and stuff like that. How are you wearing the contacts?
Contacts can be pretty rough. I mean, because they're the full eyeball contacts. So when you're wrestling, you get hit, they kind of get knocked around a little bit, and sometimes it's tough to see. But I mean, it's not too bad. I mean, your eyes really kind of adjust to it, but sometimes they're horrible. You can't see at the end of the match. Anyone else?
Have you ever hung out with Mark Calloway before?
The question was, have I ever hung out with The Undertaker before? And the answer is yes. And ironically, one of the times was in Tampa at the show, the Farewell Tour show with Kiss. We hung out with Bryan Adams, Chris Jericho, The Undertaker, Paul White, the Big Show. They were all there. There's a lot of guys that are huge Kiss fans in both organizations. Chris Jericho is a huge Paul Stanley fan. And we always went back and forth. When he was in WCW, we'd always argue, I'm a Gene fan, he was a Paul fan, and we go back and forth at who was Kiss. So he's a huge one. Edge from the WWF is a huge fan. Crowbar for WCW. There's a lot of big Kiss fans out there. I mean, look at wrestling in general. I mean, it's pretty much.
Yeah, but you never know those.
We went from being wrestling, and then Kiss comes along, and you look how it's changed. It's like Kiss comes along, and then it's a huge spectacle wrestling. I think wrestling has taken a lot from Kiss. So I mean, they've influenced so many people and a lot of wrestlers and the wrestling business as a whole.
Not in Madison Square Garden, yeah, Shea Stadium.
How come they're
They're trying to get the Beatles
Instead of promoting wrestlers, all you guys, you know, you're all athletes, obviously, why are they promoting sex on TV with all the women that they're promoting? I don't understand that. I know we love it, but we get a lot of kids that actually watch it, and I mean, it kind of turns the parents off. They're actually watching, that's what they're watching, and it's taken away from what you guys are actually, you know, entertainment and doing yourselves.
Well, I think what happens is you change and have that stuff because people want it. Right. You know what I mean? And then if you watch any of the sitcoms starting at 8 o'clock, I mean, it's all over everything. And, you know, the one thing that we promote, you know, there's violence in what we do in terms of wrestling, but it's sports entertainment. We don't make any, you know, we don't try to hide it. It's entertainment. Now, you never see, I mean, you could go watch an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, and how many people does he blow away in one movie?
It's 30 minutes backstage.
And we don't do anything with killing. There's no, you know, killing scenes. There's no anything like that on our shows. You know, that they're saying that they push the envelope, that kind of thing. Most of that, they try to do after the 9 o'clock hour. 9, 10 o'clock, that time is when they're trying to do it, so kids are going to bed. You know, the kids that are too young to watch it hopefully will be in bed. So, I mean, if you really break it down, we don't do anything like they do in movies and these made-for-TV movies. You don't see any of the hardcore violence and sex acts. You know what I mean?
I just think that they're taking it away from you guys, of your ability to wrestle and what you train for and how you guys, for certain athletes, like football players and basketball players, they don't actually put that there, but they're adding more to that than what you guys do.
Well, it's, you know, it's entertainment and it all fits. It all helps, you know, create the whole show.
Good to me, but...
Right. Well, it really is kind of to set up the entire show. There's everything in there, and everything that the women do build for the guys, and vice versa. I mean, everything is building towards one thing.
You answered my question.
All right.
Like the gentleman over here said, you have a lot of young fans. Do you do anything special for your young fans or any charity work?
Yeah, actually, I was just, when we drove in, the last time I was in Providence, I was at the Hasbro Children's Hospital. I came in and came early before Nitro and worked, talked to the kids, and we signed autographs and hung out with them. So whenever we get a chance to do that, I mean, that's really what makes it all worth it. I mean, the kids that are watching it, because I remember, I mean, see, that's the thing, that's the best gift that I can give back to them, is that I remember everything about being a kid. I mean, my father was in Major League Baseball for 37 years, so I looked up to a lot of the baseball players. I remember how they treated me, and I remember, looking up at Kiss as, the greatest thing ever, and I just remember how they treated me, and that's what I'm talking about. That's where I like to be able to give back, and I'm glad that the kids are here today, because that's really what it's all breaks down. That's what it's all about.
Who else got a question?
What's that? How's that? All right? Anyone else? What about you? That's a cool-ass costume. I like that. I like that. Anybody else?
If we wanted you to become WWF champion, what would it take for Vince McMahon to make you champion? What's it based on? Do they give you a 6-month deal and say we're going to make you champion 6 months? Or how can we get you to become WWF champion?
I mean, there's ways to using the internet for fans is a big way to voice your opinion. Whether you like me or you don't, you can voice your opinion either way by going and emailing the WWF and saying, listen, we want to see the Demon in action. The more that the fans come out, and the last, I was in Atlanta and we had a question and answer thing, and I told them the truth. When I was doing the Demon character, when I had that whole feud with Vampiro and then this Insane Clown Posse, I could barely find any Kiss shirts, and Insane Clown Posse shirts were everywhere. And that's what I was trying to say is, the more that the Kiss fans get involved, the more this character gets over. I mean, the more that the email comes in and that people really do want to see it, and it goes both ways. If you don't want to see it, email them that you don't want to see it. It's either way. If you don't like me, that's okay. But if you want to see me, that's one of the ways to do it.
So what are we all going to do when we get home tonight? www.wwf.com?
Yeah.
There you go.
Sounds good to me. I mean, I love to see fans, the Kiss fans. That's one of the things that I can guarantee you, if you're at one of the shows, I will find the Kiss shirt. Because it's one of those things that, as a Kiss fan, you see someone walk, you're instantly drawn to that person going, hey, he's got a Kiss shirt, he's got to be pretty cool. So that's, whenever I'm in the ring, there was one guy that emailed me, he said, I saw you at the show, you pointed at me, he was wearing a big Gene Simmons shirt. I mean, if you're in the crowd, I'll find you. That's the one thing. It's awesome to see the Kiss shirts out there. I mean, there's so many members of the Kiss Army. That's one thing that I would love to happen, is eventually down the road get as many Kiss fans in one arena as we can get, and everyone wearing the Kiss Army gear. I mean, I think that would be pretty cool. That's cool. He's got the Kiss Army tattoo right there.
How many people here have Kiss tattoos? Raise your hands.
Where is it? All right. Let me see. Look at that. I like that.
All right, who's going to be the lucky fan to ask the Demon the last question today? First hand I see.
As a child, who was your favorite wrestler that really influenced you to get into the ring and become a wrestler yourself?
There were a few. I mean, I remember just being in awe of Andre the Giant. Just remember sitting there going, oh my God, that guy can't be that big. And then, I mean, I think along with a lot of kids my age, Hogan. I mean, you sit there and go, there are a few, that someone said about the Ultimate Warrior. I mean, you said the Ultimate Warrior, I always thought that was a cool gimmick too. I mean, he's huge. When you see someone that big and that ripped, I mean, you're instantly drawn to it. So, I mean, those three probably, influenced me really to get into wrestling. And when I was thinking about wrestling and being a pro wrestler and a character, I always, before this came about, I always wanted to do some kind of character that was like Gene in the ring. And there were a few people that saw it. It happened really fast. They started me in another character called the MVP, which was mine, because I took my baseball background and then I put face paint on to basically be like, you know, a Gene Warrior baseball player mix of all my, you know, all my passions and kind of crush them together, and that's how that came about. But one of the greatest nights is when they pulled me aside after I had a match with Horace Hogan. They said, that's the last time you're going to do it. And I was shocked because it only happened twice. And they said, you got the demon character. And I was like, great, you know, and, you know, took my stuff off and I'm like, that's awesome. So, I mean, that was one of the coolest nights for me.
Okay, let's hear it for Dale Torbo, the Demon! What we're going to do is Dale's going to take a little break. We're going to get Bill and Coyne up here for a little while, do a Q&A, and then we're going to do the autograph sessions after that. Remember, there's going to be Polaroids available where you can take a picture. If you got a camera, that's fine. But if you don't have a camera and you want a picture with the Demon, or Bill O'Coin, or later Bruce Kulick, you're able to get a Polaroid picture, an instant picture, next to the Demon, autographed by the Demon on the spot for $5. So those are going to be available.
Today in the Demon get-up, it begs the question, where did he end up? What, is he outside the building? Is he outside picking up leftovers from Gene Okerlund? Are you kidding me? Well, I'm going to get in trouble for that one, I can tell already. Butterfly double underhook, salto by the Demon. Proud to be the show of the year from San Francisco. The chicken wing up, the chicken wing slam from Demon. The kiss of death, he calls that maneuver, and it was the kiss of death for Rick Cornell. Oh, it got dark in here. Yes, I'm Scott Hudson. We'll send it back to Tony and Bobby in the studio.